Hello, friends. My name is Robert Bevan. I write the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and we are going to be talking about the spell Feeblemind.
Oh, yeah, we are. Oh,
Good times.
Feeblemind. What a spell. What a spell.
All right, I think
Oh,
we might as well just get the beginning about out of the way. Initial thoughts.
let's rip the band-aid right off. This spell is miserable. I
Yeah,
whew.
the
This
effect
is
isn't bad. It's just more sad than anything.
yeah, you this is okay. Feeblemind when cast on a player versus Feeblemind when cast on a monster have two wildly different outcomes, and specifically in terms of power, and wildly impact someone's ability to play the game more so than even like death does. Feeblemind is one of few things in D&D that is genuinely a fate worse than death for a tremendous amount of characters. And for that reason, it can lead to some pretty abysmal, like friendship ruining moments that
You're talking about out of game.
yes. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like a DM feeble-minding a player and then telling them to stay at the table and play with that character for the next 3 or 4 sessions. Like that is a miserable time. And the spell exists in the game, and some monsters can have it. Like that's in the rules, but is so unfun that it makes me wish the spell didn't exist. That's how miserable of an experience it can be.
Oh man, I'm looking over it. You get to make a saving throw every 30 days.
30 days. 30. There are so few ways to reverse this too. Like if you
Well,
die,
it's got the ways right here. It says greater restoration, heal, or wish. Wish is kind of a
three
tall
ways.
order, but greater
Heal,
restoration and heal don't sound too bad.
Greater Resto's 9th level. Heal is 6th level. Or sorry, Greater Restoration is a 5th level spell for 9th level characters can have it.
Right.
Heal is 6th level. We're limited if you don't have a cleric or a druid. I think it's Greater Resto too. If you don't have a cleric or druid in your party, you just don't have access to this. You have to go find some other person that can do this. Or conversely, if you were relying on one druid or cleric to use it and they get feeble-minded, you're screwed. Like you're screwed because that's the character that can no longer speak because their int is 1. They can't get intelligible words out to cast something that requires a verbal component like Greater Restoration. So you have to find some other way to do it. So with these 3 ways in mind, it's so miserable. Even if like you make a whole adventure out of it, right? Like let's say your cleric does get feeble-minded. Let's say you don't have a cleric in the party, you have to go find one. That's a whole ass adventure that someone just has to be going like, oh, just for 45 minutes to an hour, that minimum.
Yeah, and you know what's even, I don't know. I think this is an 8th level spell, and the target takes 4d6 psychic damage. Why bother with the damage?
That's a great question. I couldn't tell you. It's functionally pointless. I guess is it supposed to make it feel more like a player spell, but like to the note of player spells, right? Like the damage is more or less worthless. If it did like 20d6 psychic damage, I'd be more okay with it because then at least sometimes your villain uses it to kill a person or at least help kill the person. In Feeblemind's case, you're doing such minimal amount of damage that you're not very actively trying to kill them. You would rather just Feeblemind them and let them suffer in that hellscape for however long. And you just end up with an amount of damage that the player never really wants to use it. Like if you're fighting down something that's actively trying to kill you, like a Trask, feeble-minding it doesn't actually change a whole lot. It just continues to rampage over and destroy things. So like that isn't great. It is miserable. It is only ever going to be aimed at players because when you aim it at monsters, they either just legendary resistance it because they have to. This is an 8th level spell for a legendary resistance. That's a pretty fair trade. Or they just become beaten. So those are the 2 outcomes. Either they encounter circumnavigated because they didn't legendary resist the Feeblemind for some reason, or they just use a legendary resistance. That's all the spell says for a player's. So from a player's perspective, I mean, unless you're using it to be evil and go around just turning people into vegetables, like you're not getting anything else out of it. And then
actually, there could probably be a scenario where that would be practical.
If you do it, honestly, killing them is more merciful at that point. I would think.
Well, I mean, no, because I mean they can come out of it in 30 days. I'm talking about, maybe you just need a politician out of the picture for a little while you have a vote or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But,
if we're gonna
it's
talk
not
like
nice.
it's definitely not nice, for sure. And secondly, like if we're gonna look towards spells that interact with people and get mess with the mental, right? This is a game where dominate person exists. This is a game where you can mentally control over others and force them to bend to your will, which I've wrote about on many occasions. Definitely can lead to some very morally questionable environments, but it's D&D. We live in this space, right? It's part of the fun of it is being able to do things that are like, I'll just ask questions later and do the cool thing now. This Feeblemind is gonna be worse. Like if you had let's look at the politician example. If you have a politician that you instead dominate and they're in your back pocket now, that seems a lot more useful than having them be on the ground with one in charisma. And you can take Feeblemind to do it. It is kind of funny. I mean, you could just do it to just terrorize some NPCs, I guess. Is that better than using practical, like controlling magic, enchantment magic? Is that more useful than using an interesting persuasion check, some odd lies, some fairy charms? Like there are so many ways to navigate that.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Oh, for sure.
All right, one more devil's advocate. As a DM tool, one of the players can't make the next session. So you can either knock him out or just pretend he's not, have him follow along in a catatonic state or whatever, or Feeblemind.
That could be a cute use case
state
for it. That could be a cute way to have that occur. If you work ahead with the player ahead of time, they're like, oh yeah, we definitely can't make that next week. Wouldn't it be hilarious if, and then you Feeblemind them? Yeah, okay. We found the one certain area when someone physically will be absent from playing that you should Feeblemind their character. That is the one scenario. Again, assuming that they can immediately get greater restoed after that, right? Assuming heal immediately comes after that. Because otherwise, like actually playing with a character with 1 int and 1 charisma, what do you do? Like, how do you role play that? You are a blob that seeks to fulfill its basic urges. That's it. Like, how is that a fun? Maybe there are people.
I might have fun with it.
Sure. I'm sure people can derive enjoyment from being completely gutted like that for a session or two. It could be fun. I could see some people
that's
having
the thing.
fun with it.
A session or two. I don't.
But 30 days.
If I keep failing that saving throw, 30 days. That's not something I want to do long term.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah.
If I did, I would have made my character like that.
Yeah, precisely. I would be the dumb barbarian if I wanted to be the dumb barbarian, but you don't always want that. The moral of the story is if you're the dungeon master, don't do this to a player. If you want to do this to a player, talk to everyone about it ahead of time and figure out a way to mitigate this down the road. Dropping it as a surprise might seem like a neat way to challenge the party, but if they don't have heal or greater resto like on hand, and if it just becomes pointless, if they do have it on hand, then they just immediately remove it and it has no consequences anyway. So it either just is trading a resource for a resource, which is something, I guess, but there are cooler and different challenging ways to do that than Feeblemind, or it ruins someone's play experience, or you get the niche small percent of people that really enjoy I will be the vegetable for a session. I will be a lump of flesh rolling around on the floor eating tacos. Like that's just what I want to do this session. And that can be fun for a session as long as, again, there's a plain way to get out of it. So yeah, Feeblemind, I hate it. I've never had a situation or heard people talk about it in ways that are like, oh yeah, I had the most fun ever when I got feeble-minded. If you are a particularly dastardly player and you're going to go into like a PvP kind of situation, and you set up like a thing beforehand, you want to go for a really disgusting build. Just go Enchanter Wizard and get split enchantment, and then you can split enchant Feeblemind and hit 2 people at once. 2 people for slot, 1 8th level spell slot. It's pretty busted. But only against other players. So in that niche situation, have fun. Otherwise, don't. I don't think it's worth it. There's better ways to do what it does. That's Sam's opinion, Bob.
No. I'm with you. It's I can't see myself ever taking this spell. And it's an 8th level spell. That's you have limited options, and there are so many like awesome things you could be doing rather than turning people into vegetables.
Yeah, agreed. There's way cooler things to do than this.
I don't know. Final thoughts?
All right, you saved it from a 1 out of 5. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5, specifically because this is a spell that you can do the fun, cute situation where someone's gonna miss a week and you just turn them into a feeble-minded creature for the week, and then they're cured after the fact. That's convinced me as a cute enough gimmick, and there will definitely be people that get a kick out of being really dumb for a session. If it ever goes longer than that, it's a 1 out of 5. It's the worst spell. Don't put this in your game. It actively hurts tables. It actively damages people's friendships and creates tension where there's no need for there to be tension in this way. It's literally worse than killing people a lot of the time because there's more answers to killing people than there is to this. There are better solutions to challenger players than Feeblemind. As a player, this spell is so bad. It does so little.
All right. Well, that's Feeblemind, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.